Hey y'all, it's your Missniecytv and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 10, Episode 10. The episode starts off with Zach and Fatima laying in the bed sleep, and some time passes while they're still sleeping. Fatima gets a call from the guy that handled their job for her with Luther. He basically tells her that he got it done. He also tells her that she doesn't have to worry about Luther anymore because he beat him up real good. The whole time that she's on the phone, Zach is over there asleep, and I'm like, she keeps looking around to see if Zach is still asleep so that he doesn't hear a conversation, but Fatima, you need to tell him the truth about what you did and where you... Somehow, some way, it's gonna come out that you lied, and it's better for you to tell him the truth now than him to find out that you was lying. Over at Danny's, we see Danny coming in the house, and Tony's right behind her because he was there to make sure that Officer Green didn't come back, but he was a little too late and $1 short. So they get inside, and Danny's basically like, you don't have to babysit me, and Tony's like, it's not that, I want to be here, I want to help. Then Danny basically convinces him to lay in the bed with her, and she tries to kiss him and try to be affectionate, and Tony's like, not right now, don't do that. We're not on that type of time. And Danny's like, as they're laying down, Danny gets a call from Officer Green because Officer Green is still outside her house looking like a 2-year-old who just got told no by their mom and they're throwing a tantrum. So he calls her phone, and instead of telling Tony that Officer Green is calling and letting her know that this was the person that attacked her, she just flips the phone. I don't understand why Danny hasn't blocked his number. She should have blocked his number as soon as he did that to her, or she should have just changed her number. There should be no way that he should still be able to contact her. Over at Andy's, we see Cheyenne. She's up, she's dressed, she's fixing coffee. Like she has nowhere productive to be this morning. And Andy comes out of her room. I have a conversation, and Cheyenne's like, are you in danger? She's like, I overheard the conversation with the FBI agent. Andy's like, so you were eavesdropping? Cheyenne's like, no, he was just fine and I wanted to check him out, and that's when I heard the conversation. So Andy only tells her about the part about Dr. Cruz because that's who she thinks set out to hit on her, but I don't really think it's just him. So she tells Cheyenne that there was a doctor who hurt a lot of women and now he's basically after her. Andy, you need to tell her about Penelope and Gary and Hudson too. Then the conversation transitions over to Cheyenne basically letting Andy know that she has some errands to run and she's going on the job interview, and Andy wishes her good luck. Back over at Danny's, it's the next morning and Tony's up but Danny's still sleeping, and when she wakes up she thanks him for staying over, and Tony's like, yes, no. He tells her that he has a few errands to run, and Danny's like, so do I. And then Tony starts rambling on about something, and he said, we'll talk about it later. And Danny's like, no, we'll just talk about it now. Say what you gotta say. Tony's like, I'm hurt by everything that happened, and it's my fault, and I have to take it on the chin. And Danny's trying to flip this on her. Like, don't make me feel bad. Don't make me feel worse than I already do. Tony's like, despite all that, I still love you. And Danny's like, why? Tony's like, because I do. Danny's like, well, most men would leave me and say that I'm damaged goods and I'm no good and all this and all that. Tony's like, well, that's not what I see when I look at you. Danny's like, well, what do you see? Tony's like, I see a complex woman who's made mistakes, and we've both made mistakes, and we just need to grow from them. And Danny's like, you sound like Keisha. And then Danny's like, I don't think I'll ever be the woman that you deserve. Tony's like, don't say that. Danny, if you know that, then why do you keep, having this man around? I know you keep telling him to leave, but you really need to tell him that it's not going to work, and it's not going to work because you're not the best version of yourself. Actually, the both of them need to work on themselves and become better versions of themselves, and maybe when they do that, they could be back together, but until then, they don't need to be together. Or maybe they just need to cut their losses, move on entirely, and find people that can be right for them when the time is right, after they finish working on themselves. Back over at Zach and Fatima, Zach is downstairs cleaning up, and Fatima comes downstairs, and she's ready for work, and Zach's made her breakfast. She thanks him, she eats the breakfast. Zach made her lunch too, but she throws it away since his cook got leftovers, and she throws it away in the container. I'm like, Fatima, that was a good container, why'd you throw it away? Zach starts talking about the whole Andy situation, and if they're ever gonna figure out who did it, and Fatima's like, they probably can't because their fingerprints got dismantled in the fire. Zach is like, that's crazy. Fatima's like, well, whoever did it probably got what's coming to him. And Fatima's also like, let the police figure it out. Zach is like, well, the police ain't probably looking and I'm going to figure it out. Fatima's like, yeah, okay. Back over at Danny's, we see her come out the bathroom and she's dressed in a zebra dress and she looks very nice. Tony tells her that she looks nice, but where's she going? Danny's like, well, I have some interviews at the salon to do with Pam and Maurice. Tony tells her that she looks very good. Danny's like, thank you, and I also want to thank you for staying. Tony's like, you don't have to thank me. He's like, I have to go on some interviews too. They wish each other good luck, and Tony's like, I'll be back later. Danny's like, you don't have to come back, I'll be fine. Over at the law firm, we see Fatima and Andy having a conversation. They talk about Cheyenne, and Andy apologizes for Cheyenne and her coming on to Zach. Fatima's like, don't apologize for Cheyenne. She's grown, and the next time she wants to play grown, she'll get a grown-up consequence, right? Andy tells Fatima that she had to bail Cheyenne out of jail the first night that she was there because Cheyenne wanted to get down to business in a public pool with a stranger. Fatima's like, that's nasty. Then they talk about Mr. Keys and Valerie and how that relationship is weird and how they just met and they clicked it off like that. Fatima's like, well, I don't trust Mr. Keys. Then they start talking about Andy going out with Dr. Vaughn and Cheyenne going out with Hayden. And Fatima's like, aren't we supposed to be hating Dr. Vaughn? Andy's like, it turns out that I had him all wrong, and I verified the things that he was saying with the files and everything. Fatima brings up the whole witness protection program, and Andy's like, I haven't really put that much thought. Andy's like, I think Cheyenne went out with Hayden to hurt me, and she's out to hurt me, and I think she's going to use Hayden to do it. Basically. Fatima's like, why would Cheyenne be out to hurt you? Andy's like, well, because I went to college and I moved away and I never looked back. Fatima's like, why? Andy's like, because my household was very hostile, and that's all I'm going to say about that. What I think really happened was something happened to Cheyenne with Marvin, and something happened with Andy with Marvin. Andy was able to escape the situation and Cheyenne wasn't, and that's why I think Cheyenne really resents Andy. If y'all don't know who Marvin is, that was Valerie's husband or somebody that she dated at the time. Fatima's like, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm here. Andy's like, I know, you're such a good friend. Fatima's like, I try to be. Then they start talking about this file, and Fatima's like, I left it at the house, I'll go get it. Over at this salon, we see Danny, Pam, and Maurice preparing for interviews, and Danny lets them know that Andy's sister wants to apply for the job. Maurice is like, I didn't even know she had it. Danny's like, she's super young, and I forgot myself. So they go through all the applicants, and some time passes, and Cheyenne comes in. She shows them her portfolio. She does everything, and they really like her work, so they basically tell her that they're going to have to figure out how to transfer her license from Florida to Georgia. If everything works out, she could possibly get the job, but they have to look at the rest of the applicants. Over at Richard's Juice Bar, we see Rich talking to Madison, and Zach walks in, and he basically talks to Madison. He tells her that he talked to Fatima, and they'll be talking soon. Madison's like, I love that. Zach asks Madison what she's doing there, and Madison's like, I'm just here to check out some juice for the cross-promotion stuff. And Zach is like, okay. Then Zach asks about Sabrina. Madison's like, who's Sabrina? Rich doesn't know what to say, so Zach speaks up, and he's like, well, Sabrina's a close friend of ours. She was in a very bad car accident. Madison's like, I'm so sorry to hear that. Madison eventually leaves, and Zach is like, what do you think about her, Rich? Rich is like, what you talking about? Zach is like, she's not just here for the juice, because your juices ain't that good. Rich basically tells Zach that Madison likes him, and she's not just interested in his juice. And Rich is like, yeah, okay, I think she's cool people. Zach gets a call from Mr. Keys about the mentorship program and them meeting up to talk about it, right? So when Zach gets off the phone, he tells Rich that he's going to talk to Mr. Keys about the mentorship program and how he wants to help the community. And Rich is like, that's a good thing. Zach is basically screaming that Rich got the juice, and Rich is like, get out my shop with that. I think you have the rights. And Zach is like, really? Back over at the law firm, we see Andy going to Hayden's office to talk to him, and she's basically telling him to stay away from Cheyenne. And Hayden's like, what if Cheyenne doesn't want to stay away from me? Andy was telling him that the stuff that he said about her to Reginald while they were on a date was unacceptable. Hayden was like, you're just mad because it was the truth. Hayden's basically like, you can't tell me what to do with my personal life. And Andy's like, well, you must forget that I'm a partner and I know all your secrets and where they're buried. And so don't play with me. I could have you lose your career in a blink of an eye. Over at the gym, we see Tony and Rich working out. And of course, they're at the gym that Madison owns. And Tony basically asks who she was. Rich tells her that she's basically the new owner now. And she's working with Rich Food and we're doing a cross promotion. Tony's like, she looks really nice. Rich is like, I haven't noticed. Tony's like, it's okay to look. Rich is like, well, my heart and my mind is still with Sabrina. Rich is like, I wonder if this situation with Penelope never happened with me and Sabrina be okay. Tony's like, that's so sad. What happened to her? But you and Danny are just alike. Y'all like to blame yourselves for being human. Humans make mistakes. Rich is like, speaking of Danny, how's she doing? And Tony just looks. Back over at Zach and Fatima's, we see Mr. Keys and Zach having a conversation, and they're talking about the mentorship program and how everything's going. Then Zach asks about Valerie and how she's doing, and Mr. Keys is like, she's okay, I really like her, but she had to go back to Florida for some health issues and everything, and I hope to see her soon. That's when Fatima comes in to get the file that she needed for Andy. Zach is like, what are you doing here? Is everything okay? Fatima's like, yeah, I just forgot a file and I need to get it. Zach is like, baby brain. Fatima's like, yeah, that's it. So Zach goes upstairs after he's done talking with Mr. Keys. So Fatima sits down and she has a conversation with Mr. Keys, and she's like, finally, we got a moment alone. And Mr. Keys is like, what can I do for you, Fatima? Fatima's like, first of all, you can tell Zach the truth. Fatima, I don't even know why y'all having this conversation while Zach is upstairs. Y'all know y'all bedroom don't have a door on it. He can hear everything that you're saying. So you might as well just call him downstairs and all three of y'all have the conversation together. Zach is going to be more hurt when he finds out the truth and that Fatima knew and she didn't tell him this entire time. Zach doesn't do good with people lying to him, and we all know this. Fatima, I don't know why you're sitting here trying to play with this man. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, turning your bell notifications. Bye.